How y'all doing? I'm surviving miraculously. So finally, I'm doing that video that many have requested, how I moved to Canada from Japan. And like I've responded in comments, I've been avoiding talking about this for a long time because it wasn't an easy experience for me. It was kind of traumatic, but it's okay now because I got to move to Canada finally, and now I'm here trying to struggle through a pandemic. Life is great. No, but seriously, I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and if my story of how I did all of this can help someone else in the same situation who lives in Japan at the moment, or anywhere in fact, and would like to move on the program I moved to and the information helps, great. But yeah, let me just say, I can only speak on what I know. So this video is about how I moved to Canada through the what's the name? Federal Skilled Worker Express Entry. I had to write down the name, from Japan to Canada. Right. Therefore, I cannot help you with any other programs like the provincial nomination. I don't know anything about that. I didn't go through that. Or through schooling. I really can't help you with any of that. I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to go and do the research and try and tell you what to do, not having all the facts. I have all the facts for this program because I did it myself. So yeah, can't help you otherwise. And my experience is as a Jamaican, so I can help you if you're in Jamaica. Not help you. I'm not helping you. This video can maybe help you if you're Jamaican moving to Canada straight, or if you're Jamaican living in Japan moving to Canada. This video can maybe help you, give you an idea of what you'll have to do. But yeah, I'm not an immigration consultant. I'm not a lawyer. I can't help you otherwise. So please do not in my comments ask me for any more information beyond this program or beyond what I went through. Can't help you. Okay? Alright, let's start. So I moved to Canada through the, let me just say it one more time, Federal Skilled Worker Express Entry. I have my notes up there. So what this program is, I'm also not going to go into details about the program. I'll actually leave a link for another YouTuber who explains it better than I could ever. It's a program where Canada invites persons with skills, like work experience and skills, to come here as a permanent resident and just basically start working immediately. Sometimes not in your field, not sometimes, 90% of the time not immediately in your field, but it's a situation where Canada is a really big country but small population, so they're trying to get more immigrants to come over and help to add to the workforce, and it's a good idea. I don't know how it's working out well. People will say what they want, but I'm happy for the opportunity that it gave me. So I knew about this program like years ago, and what I would do is I'd go on the website to see if I was eligible, and every time it would say no, you're not eligible. And that was because you get points for certain things. So you get points for your language ability, so for your work experience, meaning what field of study you've been in or what work experience you have, and also for your age, if you have a family, living in Canada, all kinds of things. Financial security, meaning how much money you have to come over here. So before, when I would go on the website and see if I was eligible, and anyone can do this, just type into Google, check eligibility for Federal Skilled Express Entry. Just go ahead and check that for yourself, and it would always tell me that I don't have enough, I'm not eligible. And why that was is because in the section for language ability, sorry, my foot keeps falling asleep, for the section with language ability, I wouldn't have that I had my language ability tested because I didn't have it tested at the time. But if you kind of have the foresight to see that, yes, once I do this English test that's required, that I will get like a top score in it, then you get the points. So my friend Shavar, big up yourself Shavar, even though you don't watch my videos, just in case, he moved over from Japan with his family to Alberta, and I was like, yo, how do you do that, son? And he was like, it's so easy. And I told him my experience with it. He's like, no, what you do is you put in grades that you think you'll get, and you put in that you have gotten your degree assessed, and then it will tell you if you're eligible, and then you can go ahead with the process. So once he gave me that advice, I went ahead and did it, and I was like, oh, they were like, yeah, you have enough points, go ahead and apply. And I was like, okay. So since I didn't actually have the test scores, I had to just basically start the process from there. So thanks again, Shavar, for explaining the information to me, which is why I'm telling you guys my experience, so you can understand it's not impossible, or you probably have the potential to do it. So once Shavar told me that, and once I went on the website and my scores changed and I got enough points, that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to move to Canada from Japan. So I decided that in April of 2018, so long ago. From there, once I made a decision, I had to then go and do two things. I had to get my degrees assessed. So I have 2 degrees. I have a bachelor's degree in environmental sciences, and I have a master's degree in natural resources management, sustainable development. And those were from the University of the West Indies. So I had to get those assessed for the Canadian equivalent, to see if they matched like a Canadian university standard. And luckily, the University of the West Indies is recognized, and that wasn't any issue. But first I had to go and register for the English language test, or IELTS. That's how it's pronounced. That's how I pronounce it. And because it's a test that is required for a lot of persons for this program, or just to assess your language ability. First of all, I think that's so unfair that coming from an English speaking country where English is my first language, and obviously I speak English well, I have to do a test to prove to the Canadian government that I speak English. That's not fair. I think that's completely out of order, but whatever. Even people from England have to do the test, which is ridiculous, but I had to register for it. But because it's such a popular test and many people are registering for it, I registered in June for a test in September, which was okay, because then it gave me enough time to kind of prepare for it. So I didn't mind really, and preparation began immediately. And what I would do to prepare for IELTS is just do as much research as possible online, and to practice listening tests using YouTube. There are lots of, because I said IELTS is a very popular test because everyone's doing it to try and move to Canada. There are lots of YouTube channels that have old tests on, like really old tests, but they're good to practice your listening ability. And I think that helped a lot for me. So I would every day practice at least 2 listening ability tests, past tests on YouTube, and practice writing exams. Just any information out there about IELTS, I would research. So from June to August, that's all I was doing, just preparing for IELTS, practicing, looking at just exhaustive is that a word? Look at me claiming to know English and making up words. But just searches upon searches about IELTS and getting as much information as possible, which really helped me in the end, because even though I was in Japan as an English teacher and English is my first language, nothing really prepares you for IELTS. And I'll make a video about IELTS in another video, but talking about it would just make this one extra long. So on September 8th, I did IELTS. A week later, or 10 days later, I got the results for that. And back in August 2018, I actually had applied to have my degrees assessed. So that process is you go on I used WES, World Education Services, WES, yeah, I think that's them. And I registered and then sent my university transcripts from the University of the West Indies directly to WES to have them assessed. And that process wasn't too bad. I'll probably talk about that in another video with the IELTS one. But luckily, University of the West Indies, I just went online, registered with them, paid for it, and they sent it directly. But that took a long time to get assessed. They said 21 days, but it was more like 2 months before I finally got the results for that. But yeah. So I did IELTS, I passed IELTS, I got a score, let me check it out. Here are my IELTS results. I got a score for listening 8.5, which was great because I practiced the most for that. Reading 7.0. We're not going to discuss that. Writing 8.0 and speaking 8. And I don't understand how I got an 8 for speaking because I thought it went very well and English is my first language, but these people mark very hard, so whatever. And that's a really good score for ALTS. Like, the average score that they want you to get is 7.777 across the board, or 7 and higher. The higher your scores for ALTS, the more points you get. So it's very important to actually score really well on ALTS. So I did that. I passed that. And during the waiting period to get the IELTS results and to also get my WES assessment done, that's when I went on the IRCC. IRCC? Is it IRCC? I don't even remember. The ICCR? Basically the immigration's website for Canada. IRCC? Okay, one second. Let me just Google that. Yeah, it's IRCC, or the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada website. And I went there and started my profile, opened the profile and started putting in the information to put myself in the pool. So basically with the express entry program, you have to submit first, it's like 2 applications. The first application is like a general overview of the information that you have, where you say how much you got on the IELTS, the English test, your skills, and then your WES assessment. And they put you in a pool. They give you a score, and then they put you in a pool of other applicants. And the applicants with the highest score, they get a request to apply, like an invitation to apply for this program. So basically it's like you're up against a whole bunch of people, and it's the person with the highest score wins. So I went ahead and filled out that application while waiting for my results. And as soon as I got the WES results, which was October 2nd, as soon as I got those results, I went ahead and submitted my application to enter the pool and see how many points I would get. And it was just by chance that I applied the day before a draw. So with this program, they have draws from the pool like it's like a lottery basically, and they have draws from the pool every 2 weeks. So I applied the day before a draw, and so the next morning I got the invitation to apply because I had enough points. I actually had, let's see, I have that paper, 462 points, which isn't a lot these days because I think the average, the lowest scores for some of these draws now are like up to 470 or even 500. It's getting more competitive as time goes on. It used to be like 300 and something, but it goes up. And I can let you know, for my scores, I got for age, I got like 94 points. For level of education, I got 135 points. For first language proficiency, so that was the IELTS scores, I got 133. For education, 50 points, and for foreign work experience, 50 points. So at that time I was working in Japan, so I actually got points for that as foreign work experience, because the immigration's officers, they kind of prefer persons who have experience working with in like a foreign country, so they know you can adapt culture wise to when you move. But anyways, that's a different story. So excited. On October 3rd, I got the invitation to apply, and I was like, yay! But that's when the hard work started, because you only get 2 months to basically gather all the information you can to apply for this thing, and it's a lot of information you have. First, you have to, like, the first application was just the basics about you, and then the second one is even more details. And then you also have to get things like, one second, let me just check. You also have to get things like your police record, your medical, you have to do a medical exam, you have to get your bank statement proving that you have the money to move there. What else? Letters of employment from your current job and your old jobs. It was just a lot to prepare in 2 months. And For me, it was made even more difficult by the fact that I was actually also preparing to do major surgery. So I have another video about that and how I did a myomectomy back in January of 2019. But the preparation for that surgery actually started in September. So that stress overlapped with this stress, kind of almost drove me insane. I'll be very honest. It was an anxious couple of months. But I just started the program, focused on one thing at a time. So once I received the letter, I immediately went to deal with the police record. Now, to get a police record from Jamaica, it wasn't difficult. I just had my parents do it for me, basically. Sent them the information, and they went to the tax office and got it, and then emailed me the results back. And you have to get a police record from any country that you've lived in for more than 6 months. So I had to get a police record from Jamaica and get one from Japan. Now, apparently police records aren't that common, or requesting them aren't common in Wakayama, because when I went to the police headquarters to do it, they were like, eh? They're like, what's that? And the funny thing about Wakayama is not many persons speak English, or they're scared to speak English, and there aren't that many English resources. But they always try and do their very best to find someone who does speak as much English as possible anywhere in the building, drag them over to assist you. So I got that help where they kind of worked out what I wanted, and they understood that, oh, okay, they told me I had to pay for it here, but go to another section to actually get it. So I paid for it at the headquarters in Wakayama City, and then went to another section of the police department to get it done. And when I went there, they were like, okay, here's the thing. We don't have the Jamaican fingerprints form. And what people normally do if they want a police record from Japan is they just go to Tokyo and go to the Jamaican embassy, and the Jamaican embassy will deal with it for you. They have all the documents needed. But I live in Wakayama, and I wasn't going to spend all that money to travel there and take time off work. So I was like, okay, how can we do this? I called the Jamaican embassy. They sent over the form, and I carried that back to the police department where I was doing it, and they actually kept the form on record. So if you live in Wakayama and you need a police record done, they will have the information now, thanks to me. So you're welcome. So I did that, and the police officers were very nice. They helped me. They found someone from the forensic department who spoke English to be my translator, and I got that police record. The only complication with that is it had to be, one of the documents that I needed had to be notarized. So I found a notary republic, I forget what that person's name is, and the only problem with that was I had to do it they had to stamp it in front of the police officer. So I had to pay for that notary public to come to the police officer's department to sign it, and that's the only reason why I got it. So that cost a lot of money. That was like $210 US, but it was still less than taking time off work and going to Tokyo, surprisingly. So I got that done, and cost an arm and a leg. And then after I did the police record, and then tried to sort out the medical exam. Now the medical exam, you can't just go to any old doctor and have it done. There's a list of doctors in Japan, or medical centers where you can have it done. So I had to travel all the way from Wakayama to Kobe to get this done at the medical center. It was at the Kobe Kaisei Hospital, which was one of the registered ones. Now the complicated part with this, like I said, I was preparing to do a myomectomy surgery, which has to deal with uterine fibroids. And for this medical exam, you can't have it done on your period, or you can't be bleeding. And with my fibroids, I was kind of bleeding like 3 weeks out of the month. So that was a complication, and I only had 2 months to try and get this done. And there was always something happening. And the day I did this exam, I was just so grateful that everything was okay. I told you, this thing was stressful for me, but because of the situation that I was in and what was going on with me. But I got this done. It was like half day of tests, eye tests, blood tests, blood tests, all kinds of tests, just test upon test upon test. and they give you the results like 10 days later, and that's the one you scan and send in for this. That test cost me $34,112, so like 340 US dollars. Very expensive, but this whole process in general was expensive. I think in total, between the medical exam, West, which was about 20 something thousand yen or $200, and the police record, I think I spent like over 100,000 yen to just complete this application or get the information I needed. So that's like almost 1,000 US dollars. And on top of that, you had to have proof of funds. Now, proof of funds is what the Canadian government requires. You have to have enough money to survive in Canada for like 6 months without a job, because that's almost how long it takes. And I'm so glad that I did save that money, because remember, I got here and I didn't have a job for like 2 months. I have a job by the way now, but that's an update for later. So I actually waited. When I decided I was moving to Japan, I just started saving. I didn't do any major traveling or purchase any big expenses. I would try and save like 70% of my salary from Interact, and then any other expenses I had, I paid through my part-time job salary. And it was like down to the wire. The last salary I got in October is what I needed to reach the threshold of this program, which for a single applicant was 12,500 or about 12,300 Canadian dollars. So that's how much money you needed as proof of funds. Now, the issue with proof of funds is I was saving with Japan Post, and Japan Post isn't like an internationally recognized bank, and it's not really a bank, it's a post office. So the problem with that is I couldn't get the required documents that they wanted, that the IRCC wanted, which was 6 months proof of income. So they wanted a letter from the bank that said how much money I had, average amount for 6 months. So June this month, but what the bank could only give me is like hold on, here it is. A certification of balance of deposit, meaning this is how much she has at the end of October, which is not what they wanted. So in my letter of explanation, which is something you can submit for this application, I explained that the bank cannot give me the letter you required. They were like, sugar, can't be helped, can't do it. Sorry, we don't do that. And I tried to scan my bank book, which showed money coming in. I sent them that letter. I showed them the proof of employment and how much money I earned from my company. All of that I tried to explain in my letter of explanation, but in part 2, I think I will explain more as to why that didn't work and why there was such a delay in my application. But anyways, I sent all of that off. I got all the documents required. I got my police records. I got my letters of employment from my old job. Thank God I only had like 2 jobs in the past before moving to Japan, because getting that letter of employment or proof of employment from other companies is so difficult if it's like from multiple jobs. So that was easy. And once I gathered all the documents, finally I applied. I sent off my application and I got approval, and then I just had to wait. And me thinking everything was okay, I was like, okay, in a few months I'm going to be in Canada. I'm going to get that confirmation soon. And everything did not turn out as planned, as you know already. But yeah, that was part 1 of my experience. Me deciding I wanted to move to Japan, getting the documents prepared, doing the exams necessary, getting my things assessed, and going through that horrible process of panicking over what am I going to do if they don't accept this. What should I do if this doesn't work? How am I going to not go to Tokyo to get all these things that I need to do done? How am I going to do it in Wakayama? It was a really stressful time for me, but I survived. And yeah, I hope this information helped you if you're planning to make the move. So the first thing I recommend is that you go on the IRCC website, assess if you are eligible or if you have the points, and what you can do is put in like fake results for IELTS and then aim to get those results and see if you have the scores necessary, and then you can make the decision you're moving there, start saving and start getting all the documents and do as much research as possible, because that's the one thing I did do before even doing the IELTS test. When I finally made a decision, I did so much research, and person's experience can help to a point. It's much better for you to actually do the research and read as much as possible as you can. So that's it. I'll do part 2 at some other times, but I need to recover from going over that experience in the first part to deal with the second part, which was just hell on earth. Just the waiting and the anxiety and the just not knowing what's gonna come. But anyways, I hope this video helped, and until next time, bye.